Well, hello people, welcome back to this 22nd session of Word Power Medicine. Today we will cover a lot of derived words, so without further ado, let's get started with today's session. Origins and related words. First is how to tickle. Titillate comes from a Latin verb meaning to tickle and may be used both literally and figuratively. The noun titillation has the added meaning of light erotic stimulation. To the second part, how to flatter. A compliment is a pleasant and courteous expression of praise. Flattery is stronger than a compliment and often considered insincere. Word adulation is flattery and worship carried to an excessive, ridiculous degree. The adjective adulatory ends with ory, a suffix we are meeting for the first time in this session. To the third part, ways of writing. Proscribe, to meaning to forbid, is commonly used for medical, religious, or legal prohibitions. The noun form proscription, in its noun form is proscription. The derivation is the prefix pro, meaning before, plus scribo, scriptus, meaning to write. In ancient Roman times, a man's name was written on a public bulletin board if he had committed some crime for which his property or life was to be forfeited. Roman citizens in good standing would thereby know to avoid him. In similar sense, the doctor writes down those foods or activities that are likely to commit crimes against the patient's health. In that way, the patient knows to avoid them. Scribo scriptus is the building block of scores of common English words, such as scribe, scribble, prescribe, describe, subscribe, script, the scriptures, manuscript, typescript, etc. Word describe uses the prefix d, meaning down. To describe is etymologically to write down about. Manuscript comes from manus. The manus means hand. With scriptus is something handwritten. The manuscript word was coined before the invention of the typewriter. The scriptures are holy writings. To subscribe is to write one's name under an order or contract. To subscribe to a philosophy or a principle is figuratively to write one's name under the statement of such philosophy or principle. To inscribe is to write in or into. A postscript is something written after the main part is finished. So note how the word proscribe has its noun form as proscription and its adjective is proscriptive. In a similar fashion, words prescribe, subscribe, describe, and inscribe have the noun and their adjective forms. To the fourth part of today's session, it's obvious. You are familiar with the word via, spelled as via, meaning by way of, which is the form of Latin word for road. When something is obvious, etymologically, it is right there in the middle of the road where no one can fail to see it. Hence, easily seen, not hidden, conspicuous. And if you meet an obstacle in the road and dispose of it forthwith, you are doing what obvious says. To obviate is then to make unnecessary or is to prevent by taking effective measures or steps against. The noun form is obviation. Surprisingly, via, meaning road, is the root in the English word trivial. Where three roads intersect, you are likely to find busy traffic, lots of people, in short, a fairly public place. So you are not going to talk of important or confidential matters. So as you will be overheard, here you will instead talk of trivial things. Whatever is unimportant without great significance, you will confine your conversation to trivialities or to trivia or insignificant trifles. To the second last part of today's session, war. Militate derives from word militis, one of the forms of the Latin noun meaning soldier or fighting man. If something militates against you, it fights against you, that is, works to your disadvantage. Militate always followed by the preposition against. The adjective militant comes from the same root. A militant reformer is one who fights or reforms. A militant campaign is one waged aggressively and with determination. The noun militancy and militant is the noun form is militancy, and militant is also a noun for the person, such as Sally is a militant in the women's liberation movement. Military and militia also have their origins in milites. To the last part of today's session, first the bad news. Built on Latin malus, meaning bad, evil, to malign is to speak evil about, to defame, to slander. Malign is an adjective meaning bad, harmful, evil, hateful, as in the malign influence of his unconscious will to fail. Another adjective form is malignant, as in a malignant glance, that is one showing deep hatred, or a malignant growth, that is one that is cancerous or bad. The noun form of malignant is malignancy, which medically is a cancerous growth, or generally the condition, state, or attitude of harmfulness, hatefulness, evil intent, etc. The noun form of the adjective malign is malignity. Observe how we construct English words by combining malus with other Latin roots. Add the root dico or dictus, meaning to say or tell, to form malediction, meaning a curse, that is an evil saying. Its adjective is maledictory. Add the root volo, meaning to wish, to will, or to be willing, and we can construct the adjective malevolent, meaning wishing evil or harm, a malevolent glance, attitude, feeling, etc. The noun is malevolence. Add the root factio, factus, meaning to do or make, to form the adjective maleficent, meaning doing harm or evil or causing hurt. Maleficent, such as maleficent acts, deeds, behavior. The noun form of maleficent is maleficence. A malefactor is a wrongdoer, an evildoer, a criminal. A malefactor commits a malefiction, a crime, an evil deed. Here also, French is a Romance language, that is a language based on Roman or Latin. Also, there are languages such as Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, and Romanian. And so, Latin malus becomes French mal, M-A-L, meaning bad, the source of maladroit, meaning clumsy, bungling, awkward, unskillful, etymologically having a bad right hand. You must be knowing adroit, we have seen in session 3. The noun is maladroitness. Also from French mal, word malaise, meaning an indefinite feeling of bodily discomfort as a mild illness or a symptom preceding an illness. Etymologically, bad ease, just as disease, the word we know, meaning lack of ease. Other common words that you are familiar with also spring from Latin malus, such as malicious, malice, malady, and the same malus function as a prefix in words like maladjusted, malcontent, malpractice, malnutrition, etc., all with the connotation of badness. So with this we conclude the last topic of today's session. So want to see what the good news is? Don't forget to watch the next video. Thank you for watching.